Good morning, good morning, good morning. This is Brett Johnson. This is the Brett Johnson Show. We are back and we are live. We are back from Lithuania. Hold on just a second. Little Pookie wants to say good morning this morning. Good morning, little Pookie. How are you? Do we like Sheriff Joe? Say, no, we don't like Sheriff Joe. Do we like Noah Back? Say, shit, no, we don't like Noah Back. Do we like the people of Hazard, Kentucky? Yes, we absolutely do. And do we love Eastern Kentucky? Say, yes, we do. Say, yes, we do. Say, I would make a great coon dog chihuahua. I know I would. Everything would be just fine. So good morning, everyone. This is Brett Johnson. This is the Brett Johnson Show. I hope Eastern Kentucky is doing great this morning. I'm running late. What's new on that, Brett? Well, okay, not a whole hell of a lot is new on that. I grant you, nothing is new on that. But I do have a couple reasons for why I am running late. If anyone is watching this morning, please let me know. I need to know if I'm coming through strong on YouTube, on Facebook, and on LinkedIn. So please take a couple of minutes to let me know. There we go. We've already got people that are signing on and say, good morning. Welcome home, sir. We didn't miss you at all. I know a few people who didn't miss me. I know Sheriff Joe didn't miss me because he was too busy trying to intimidate the followers. That's exactly what Sheriff Joe was doing. Sheriff, buddy, it may be only, 8:20. Well, it's 9:21 in Kentucky. It's 8:21 here in Alabama. And I got to tell you, Sheriff Joe, I got to tell you, Sheriff Joe, if there was a time to fuck up, boy, you fucked up. Deborah, good morning to you. Audio and video spot on. Yes, that's what I like. I've been coming in hot on the mic because, as everyone knows, I can get a little loud. We've got one hell, and I mean, guys, we have got one hell of a show today. Let's start by making everyone's day. So, in the comment section from the Brett Johnson Show, we have a Dropbox link that has Happy Mobalini's complete education file. Cha-ching! Bam! I told everybody I was going to do that shit. I told you. You was wondering why I'm running late. That's why I'm running late. I was so busy. I had to update my Dropbox account, because I don't like to pay for that shit if I don't like to pay for it. So I had to pay for it, $11.99 a month. Happy Mobalini, your ass just cost me $11.99. I want that money back. You ain't worth $11.99. You ain't worth a plug nickel. Stephanie Smith, hello, my friend. Hey, Pookie's glad. Pookie, I tell you what, I came in last night. I landed at 2:30. 3:30 Eastern is when I landed. I didn't get back here. Now, Atlanta's only a 2-hour, 18-minute drive. I didn't get back here until after 7 p.m. Eastern because there was a wreck an hour out. So here I am in the middle of the highway playing my Nintendo Switch 2. So playing that, and I walked in, and little Pookie, I had a friend of mine pick him up and brought him down, and I left him at the apartment because I know I wasn't going to be able to get him in time. Little Pookie was laying on the couch. I walked in. He just started shaking all over. I laid down on the floor with little guy and just, let him wallow all over me for, 10, 15 minutes. That was little Pookie. And he was tickled to death. He slept with me last night, and I slept well, and I woke up late because I was exhausted. Hey, good morning, everyone out there. So in the comment section, we're going to make that comment a few more times. Cybercrime content, Magical Fruits official at 10 a.m. Central. I am doing a Cybercrime 101 show today live. So you can call in. We're going to talk about, I'm going to give the presentation that I gave for Visa in Lithuania. That's going to start out the show. And then we can go from there with any type of live calls, comments, whatever you guys want to do. So 10 a.m. Central, Cybercrime 101. All right. Deborah Noble, I love Pookie as well. Let's see. Missy Woods, good morning. Stephanie Smith, you already said. Ronnie Baker, man, good morning to you. I hope you're doing all right. In the comment section of the Brett Johnson Show, we have the link. I'm going to post it again because you know what? I love posting it, Happy. I want every person out there to know what a son of a bitch you actually are. What a complete piece of shit you are. Now, guess what, Happy? I ain't through with your ass yet. I've got your appeals where you wanted that qualified immunity. You're damn straight. I've got your appeals where you wanted that, and you and that piece of scum, Luke Glazer, and that horrible bitch And I don't call women bitches. I don't. But in her case, I am going to make an exception. That horrible bitch, Sheena Breeding. Yeah, I'm going to make an exception too. So, comment section, we've got the Dropbox link to the complete education file of Happy Donald Mobalini, who I'm going to tell you, that's some of my bitch. He ain't too happy today. He ain't too happy today, and I'm glad to hear that. Now, that is not the only thing we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about Sheriff Joe potentially violating all of our civil rights and what kind of mess he just got his ass into for that. We're going to talk about that in a minute. Now, D, I saw your message, D. Abner. If you want to call in right now, you're welcome to. I saw you ring in. I didn't know if you meant to or not. If you want to call in right now, be more than welcome to. Anyone that wants to call in, feel free to. 850-797-0155. You can use that through WhatsApp. You can do it directly. Other than that, D, I'll reach out to you just as soon as that's done. Is Sheena Breeding the daughter of Ben Breeding, CEO of MCHC? By defense? I don't know. I do know that I got this nasty message. So I talked about, I mentioned I'm going to go into that more in a minute because I got more information on that. But I talked about how Sheena Breeding and Laura Jo Pelfrey, Laura Jo. How Laura Jo Pelfrey, they were over there doing the cheerleading coach, and they had to resign. They had to resign, and because they were just so busy. They had to resign because they were just so busy. It had nothing to do with a lot of missing money. It had nothing to do with supplying alcohol to underage children. I mean, they're children, so they would be underage. That's no need to be redundant. Had nothing to do with supplying alcohol to children and letting them party. Had nothing to do with that. They just wanted to resign because, we're so busy. We've got other things to do. We just can't dedicate our time to that. Now, we all know that's bullshit. And that's not how I framed it at all. But I did have, and the gentleman has, for some odd reason, the gentleman has decided to delete the message that he sent to me regarding his mommy, because I was going to pull it up live and read it. Fortunately for that gentleman, or maybe unfortunately for that gentleman, I took snapshots of it because that's what I do. So we're going to read that today. Max Pelfrey, one of the sons of Laura Jo Pelfrey. So we're going to read that. Defense rest is then we need to talk like for shiz. Then defense, we need to talk, man. I'm all about talking. You damn straight. All right. So this is from Max Pelfrey. And you'll forgive me, but I have to give Max Pelfrey, when I read the message, when I read the threat, I automatically gave it a voice. That's what I do. I automatically gave it a voice. So I'm going to give it a voice right now as well. Those things aren't bad. They're not great, but they're a hell of a lot better than the Monster Rehab energy drink. Nothing better than to wash down a chocolate premier protein shake than with nasty ass tea and lemonade Monster Rehab energy. Man, that will put some scratch on your nuts right there. Speaking of nuts, has Bill Back's nutsack fallen off yet? If not, I'm saying those prayers every night until it happens, every single night. All right. So this is Max Pelfrey, son, one of the 4 sons of Lord Joe Pelfrey. You have now messed with the wrong people. You have now mentioned false information about a mama of 4 grown men and would never come to hazard to say a word to anyone's face that you have talked about. Max, I would. I'm going to tell you, son, I don't mind a bit saying to someone's face what I'll say behind their back. If you think I'm saying something behind someone's back, what the hell, son? It's not like I'm hiding. I'm right here. I'm coming to hazard. I promise you. You want to have a coffee? You want to hit some, shit, we can build us a campfire. sing Kumbaya, and you can talk to me all you want to about your three brothers, about your mother, about Happy Mobalini, everything else. I'm pleased to sit down and have that civilized or uncivilized conversation with you. All right, continuing right along. And say one word to anyone's face that you have talked about. You sit behind a screen hidden. I'm not hidden. I'm right here. You sit behind a screen hidden because you know you are safe doing so. I will leave it at this. You have no clue who you are talking about when you talk about them and what the actual truth is. You talk about a mom, my mom, who has never even bought her own kids a drop of alcohol and say she has supplied and allowed children to drink. Second of all, Sheena Breeden lives in a town home, doesn't even have a barn. So there's another fact for you. I'm going to get to that. I'm going to get to that dumb ass comment of yours in just a second, son. Just because I'm in Alabama doesn't mean I'm not aware of who owns what in Kentucky. You dumb son of a bitch. So if I were you, I would talk about facts instead of just saying random things that aren't even true. Just because you hear something doesn't mean it's true. And I grant you, just because I hear something doesn't mean it's true. When I was a child, I heard that the tooth fairy was real. I believed that shit. I heard the Easter bunny was real. Much harder to believe, but I believed that shit. And I heard that Santa Claus was real. And I even believed that shit. But what I'm talking about today is true. Moving right along. Neither of them ever took money from the cheer team and were not asked to resign. My mom resigned because of my senior year, because she wanted to be able to enjoy my football games instead of having to deal with the cheerleaders. Thank you for your time and what you have done. I'm just tired of people lying on my mom and rumors going around. Let's see here. Hold on now. I lost another snapshot. I lost where I was in the thing. Just give me a second, Max. Just give me a second. I've not forgot your character, son. I promise. Let's see. Oh, and people lying on my mom and rumors going around about her that aren't true. All right. There we are. There we are. So, Max, I don't know if that's what you sound like or not, but to me, my internal voice, when I read your message, my internal voice, that's exactly what you sounded like. Not saying there's anything wrong with that. There's not. But it does add some color and some tension to your message. Now, here's the thing. You're right, Max. And this is where your dumbass spoke. You were absolutely right that Sheena Breeden, asshole piece of shit, and I'd call her a son of a bitch if she wasn't, if she was a son, but she's not. You're right. Sheena Breeden does not own a barn. What about your mommy? She have a cabin or a barn? Max. Oh. Max spoke out of turn. Max didn't think that Brady would realize any of that bullshit. Max, I don't pull punches, son. I don't give a shit if there's 2 of you, 4 of you, 6 of you. I don't give a damn how many brothers there are, how many sons she's got. I don't care. When we're talking about somebody letting children drink and letting them party, I don't give a damn about that. So you got to realize that out of the gate. Do not care. So the parties took place at that barn / cabin, whatever the hell it is. All right. Now, I'm not the only one that knows that. Your mommy knows it. You probably know it. Sheena Breeding knows it. Happy Mobalini knows it. All those cheerleaders know it. All those cheerleaders' parents probably know it. Needless to say, some money went missing. I don't know if your mommy took the money. I don't know. I'm not saying that. I am saying that while Sheena Breeding was there, that some money went missing. And I'm saying if your mama let children drink alcohol and party on her property, that makes her a piece of shit too. I said it. Didn't hide when I said it. Didn't say it behind your back because I'm sure that you're watching the show. And if you're not watching the show, someone will tell you and you can come watch the show. So that means it's not behind your back. And I am coming to Hazard. Just so you know. How you think that you're going to scare some son of a bitch that's literally been on the United States Most Wanted list, that single-handedly almost starts an entire prison riot because I didn't back down from anybody. Yeah, that's a fact. That's a fact. That stared down the Aryan Brotherhood when I was at Big Spring. Didn't have to join a gang, didn't have to do anything else like that. Literally told one, hey, because he just wouldn't let it go. The rest of the Aryans were okay with me. He wouldn't let it go. Not that, and I didn't join a gang, but he wouldn't let it go. I told him what I'd do to him. Next day, they make his ass check in. That you think you're worrying me, you are incorrect. Let's check the comments. All right, Sandra Reed. I don't want to go back here. I want to go back here for a second. All right. Sandra Reed, love you, Brett. I've got to help a neighbor today, but I'll catch up. Sandra, I understand absolutely, and God bless you for helping your neighbor. You know, I talk about this all the time. Love thy neighbor as thyself. Do unto others as you would have them do unto me. And we people of Eastern Kentucky, we have historically helped our neighbors, and we all know that. My mom was not. My mom's still alive. My mom was not. She was a very abusive person. And I think she's got some border personality disorder. She's certainly narcissistic. I don't like my mom. I love my mom. But growing up, she was abusive and a criminal and everything. But at the same time, this is a woman who absolutely would help her neighbors, make sure they were fed, make sure they were taken care of, everything else like that. And we people of Eastern Kentucky, regardless of how screwed up we are very good about helping our neighbors. So God bless you, Sandra. I was on the fence on Joe thinking he was being bullied, but now true colors have shown. Yeah, we're going to show that in just a second. All right. Elizabeth Hall, good morning. Ann Walker, it's good to see you on this feed. It is good to see you on this feed. I'm going to come see you as soon as I can. I hope you're doing all right. I love you guys. I love you guys, truly. John Baker, you're doing a hell of a job. Keep up the work. Bro, it's not like you lying. If it looks like shite, smells like shite, guess what? You're damn right. Sandra Reed, we're all here. Penny Logan, good morning. Good morning, Penny. I hope you're doing all right. Holly Stacy, the accent is spot on. Rolling on the floor laughing. I'm glad you were able to bring everyone out of the hollers together and give us a voice. I'm proud of you. Hey, you know what? The thing is, like I've spoke about this before, the disparity, that gap between the rich and poor has gotten, or the powerful and unpowerful, has gotten so big in Eastern Kentucky that these some of them bitches think that they can do whatever they want to someone. And they've largely been right, because people are in the area, because, it's hard to get a job. It's hard to get ahead. You got your bills you got to pay for, like that poor lady whose water bill went from $30 up to $900 a month. Someone who speaks out, they've been really adamant, the bad guys have, about getting even with anyone who speaks out. And then all of a sudden they get a son of a bitch like me that, hey, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? Not a whole hell of a lot. Not a whole hell of a lot. When I'll stop when you assholes put me in the grave. That's when I'll stop. That's how much sense I've got. I get that from my dad. My dad was not a very motivated man. My dad was became the enabler in the family. If my mom wanted to abuse someone, he wouldn't step in the way. Yeah, he wouldn't step up and do the right damn thing. And if she wanted to commit a crime, typically, if she wanted to commit a crime, typically he would co-sign on to it. My dad, he had two motivational ideas that I knew of the man in his life. Two criminal ideas is what I'm talking about. I'm going to tell you both of them. I'm going to continue about not happy, but Sheriff Joe, because your reckoning day is nigh, Sheriff Joe. So my dad, the first idea he had, there was a guy named Tommy Allen Combs out in Jeff, Kentucky. Glomar Holler is where Tommy Allen lived. And people that I mentioned this name, people remember Tommy Allen. Well, Tommy Allen, and looks like my girl just walked in. I heard the door. So she ain't going to come over and say hello, but we're going to call this show as soon as we can. You hear Pookie over there kind of growling at her. All right, so Tommy Allen, my dad got out of the military. Now, my dad tells the story. My dad's dead now. My dad tells the story that Tommy Allen, my dad drops out of the military. He was a captain. He's a helicopter pilot. My dad says that the military forced him out, all right, that they gave him the option of, well, you can drop out or we'll drop you down to a staff sergeant. He was a captain, and you can stay in or you can leave. And my dad said, well, I chose to leave because I wanted to be a coal miner. Now, whether that's true or not, I don't know. I know my mom was a big embarrassment to my dad in the military. He would have already been a major at that point, but she was pulling a bunch of bullshit on base. All right. So my dad becomes a strip miner, Falcon Coal Company. And I'm going to tell you guys, back then, what happened is, you know, when you worked, you were living really well. And when you weren't, you were on food stamps and unemployment. And the way the unions were back then, they didn't give a shit about the workers. They were on strike more than anything. So, you know, we all lived on a lot of food stamps and unemployment at that point in time. And my dad, he decides he wants to get up with Tommy Allen Combs. Now the story was Tommy Allen back in the day had gotten a lot of trouble. And my dad's dad, Farmer Johnson, who was tax commissioner, it's back when the Johnsons had a name in Perry County. My dad's, my grandfather, Farmer Johnson, got Tommy Allen out of trouble. My dad asked his dad, hey, can you do anything for it? And he got Tommy out of trouble. And Tommy always respected that. And Tommy always loved my dad because of that. So my dad gets this wild hair in his ass. And Tommy had been in prison for something, but Tommy had not ratted anybody out. All right. So when he gets out, he still had a name, everything else. He had helped everybody in Glomar Holler. From what I understand, at one point, you know, he clothed and put shoes on every child in Glomar Hollow at one point, even though he was a criminal. And that's how the Kentucky way is. We all know that. A lot of criminals that are doing things from growing pot or whatever, you know, they do take care of their neighborhood and everything as much as they can. They look out for each other. So my dad decides that what he wants to do, since he's helicopter pilot and going broke in the coal business, you know, as a strip miner, he was a dozer operator and rock truck driver. He decides that he wants to fly dope back and forth across the Mexican border. And he took the kids. I mean, he took me and Denise, my mom. We all went up there, and I remember the first time I met Tommy Allen. He was sitting on the porch. He had chickens in his front yard, and he had one of those slingshots, and he was trying to hit the chickens with the slingshots. And I thought that was the coolest shit in the world. I absolutely did. Well, my dad has these talks with Tommy Allen, and I guess that it was going to go, that, you know, they were absolutely going to do that stuff. So that falls through. And the reason it falls through is that Pearl Couch, sheriff at that point in time, he calls Tommy Allen up. And he says, Tommy, we got a warrant for you. We need you to come on down. And Tommy Allen is like, no, I tell you what, why don't you come down and get me? And Pearl's like, well, we'll send somebody out to get you then. So I guess that a sheriff's deputy and a KSP, they showed up. And Tommy Allen, I think he killed one, or at least he put one in a wheelchair for the rest of his life. And like a 6-hour shootout ensued from that point. And it was on WKYT and everything else. My dad decided at that point he did not want to fly dope across the Mexican border. That was the first instance of him having some motivation of his own. The second time, he was watching 60 Minutes, and he was an avid 60 Minutes fan. So he's watching the segment they had. They had 20-minute segments. Segment they were showing all the cocaine down in Miami. The tons of cocaine, the pallets of cash. And my dad, man, he's locked on it. He's just watching that show like, damn. Meanwhile, my mom, she used to smoke these Moore cigarettes all the time. She's sitting there. What the hell is he watching? So she starts watching the segment too. My dad, he's not paying attention to anything else except that segment, just watching the money, watching the cocaine. And at the end of the segment, he turns around at my mom and he's like, I think I need to go down to Miami and be a police officer. And my mom's like, that's a really good idea. So they sell everything they possibly can, everything they could, round up about $6,000 in cash. The rest of it goes in one of those 27-foot U-Hauls. And they load up me, my sister, a Doberman, full-size Doberman. And I rode in the U-Haul with my dad. My mom and dad had this Chrysler Cordoba. They put the Doberman, my mom and Denise in there, and we head south on I-75. We got to Miami the night the Miami riots broke out. The Miami police had chased this black man on a car chase. Black man had wrecked. Miami cops got him out of the car and literally beat the man to death. Well, no one knew it because the cops lied. The night the truth came out, city exploded. We got there that night. So here the riots are going on, everything else. We arrive in Miami. We're staying at a Days Inn underneath this, just across from this underpass where all these homeless people are. My mom had never seen any bullshit like that at all. She is scared to death. Wouldn't let the kids out of the hotel room whatsoever. Meanwhile, next day, my dad goes to cop school. He comes back. He's like, I think it's going to work. Day after that, my dad comes home from cop school, looks at my mom. We got to get the fuck out of here. So it turns out what had happened is while he was in cop training, the real Miami-Dade cops burst in, arrested like 5 or 6 people that had outstanding warrants that had the same idea that he had. And what idea was that? Well, his idea, and he told the kids this, his idea was, what I'll do is I'll come across one of these drug deals. I'll let them keep the drugs. I'll take the cash. Everyone will be happy. Now, hell, I was only, 9 years old at that point in time. And I looked at my dad and I was like, won't they just shoot you? And he looks at me. I still remember he looked at me like, no. I'm sitting there going, even to this day, I was like, Dad, man, he's dead. I'd be like, Dad, they're going to shoot your ass. That's how they handle cops like you. But he decided the Miami-Dade police officer was not the job for him. So they're running out of money. By this point in time, the mileage has already been exhausted on the U-Haul. So he's bitching as he's driving north on I-75. They didn't know where they were going to go. He's bitching about 25 cents a mile, 25 cents a mile. All of our money running out. They didn't know where they were going to go. They got up around Orlando. And both of them seemed to remember that, we had spring break when we were kids in Panama City, Florida. And that's how we ended up in Panama City. My mom ultimately leaves my dad because we got to the point where, we were just broke. My dad, the only job he could get was as a midnight clerk at 7-Eleven. He was making, I think he was only making $140 a week at that point in time. My mom was a licensed nurse, but she wouldn't keep the job long enough except to see my dad off to work, and then she'd start to party. I remember that we'd have our power cut off. We'd have our water cut off. It got so bad with water being cut off. We're right on close enough to the beach that you got rain about every day. They'd have the water cut off, and we'd wait till it got dark and it'd rain, and we'd be out there, all 4 of us, catching water in pots and pans, have enough to take sponge baths with, brush your teeth with. I still remember brushing my teeth with the water in the back of the toilet. So, that was my dad. That was my dad. That was my mom. It's crazy. I'll tell you some more stories about my mom and dad and everything as we go along. Elizabeth Hall, let's see. Sandra, when you let us all know, we can plan a true live show with us there. Yeah, I'm coming to Hazard. You can bet your ass on that. Jesse Hollifield, go to London, Kentucky. But the police is going to the wrong address and killing the innocent man. Hey, we're going to be handling Amber Spradlin. I'm talking to some people today about Amber Spradlin. Evidently, there's some problems out in Knott County, Laurel County, all over the place. So we're going to try to handle a lot of that. And certainly Martin, Kentucky, with Mike Cagle over there getting his ass fired because he was doing the right damn thing. So Deborah Noble Brown, always got to love our mothers. they get sick too. Hey, yeah. I mean, like I said, I love my mom. I do. I love my mom. My mom has historically not been a good person, but there were certainly times growing up that she had a heart of gold toward not only me and my sister, but toward the neighbors and the community as well. General Wooten, mine too, Brett, and I've raised mine the opposite while being transparent about our past and their amazing kids. God bless you. Tiff Gross, good morning. Good morning, Tiff. J.E. killed my soul. It was one thing you cover up. Joe Engel killed my soul. It was the one thing you cover that I just knew he was going to come with receipts and redeem himself. So yeah, I'm just yuck about it. Yeah, we're going to talk about Joe Engel in just a minute. So glad you're back. Getting back to business as usual. Jeanette, you're absolutely right. Donna Bashir is watching. Good morning, Donna. Hope you're doing all right. Genoa, my poor raising is what made me like I am. My mom did business with Troy P. Combs. Have pics with him at head of dad's dinner table. If you know, you know. Yeah, I know. Ronnie Baker, holy hell. Did I hear Falcon Coal? Yeah, Falcon Coal Company. My dad worked there in the welding shop for years. My dad ran a rock truck and a D9 bulldozer up there for a little while. Haven't thought of Troy P in a long time. General, I could tell you how Adena Fuels did my daddy, and your blood would run cold. My dad was besties with Tommy. He passed away recently, didn't he? Well, Tommy Allen got killed years ago in that shootout. He did not survive that shootout after he decided he was going to. He either killed or put a state trooper in a wheelchair. Is what happened at that. Deborah Brown, I remember that. I remember the drop point being the horse park. Yep. Those Doberman came from Chenoa Wooten. Those Doberman came from my parents, I'd bet. Man, they probably did. My dad ordered the parents from Chicago and bred them. I wish you'd see these comments. Chenoa, you're great. I absolutely appreciate you. So, Michelle Reed, my family is from Glomar. I've been up Glomar many a time. My granddad, Paul G. Campbell. The G was just a placeholder, didn't mean anything. My granddad, Paul G., he used to, when I got to the point that I would have, the girls would come down because either I was living with my grandparents, Paul and Alverna, or, we were living underneath the house. And I'd have, when I got to the point where I was talking to girls, a girl would come over. My granddad, he was always kidding with them, and he'd sit them down, and he'd ask them, "Where are you from?" And they'd tell him, and he'd look at him and say, "Now, is that past the Glomar Bridge?" And if they said yes or no, it wouldn't matter. He'd say, "You know what? Civilization ends at the Glomar Bridge." And he just let it go like that. So he'd say that, and the other thing he'd do, depending on who was there, and it happened to anybody, adult or child, either one. He'd pull him over. He'd look at him and say, "Are you a Democrat or Republican?" And it wouldn't matter. So then he'd pull out the Bible. He said, "Did you know what the Bible says about Democrats and Republicans?" And usually they'd say, "I didn't know Democrats or Republicans were in the Bible." And he said, "Oh yeah. They didn't call them Democrats or Republicans, though. They called them goats and sheep. That's what they called them." He'd pull out his Bible, and he'd pull out that bit about, the goats are going to hell and the sheep are going to heaven. And he'd say, "Now the goats is the Democrats. There has never been a war under a Republican. It's always been them damn Democrats. So they're all going to hell." And the thing was, his wife, Alverna, she was a staunch Democrat, and he was a staunch Republican. Us three boys, Sean Campbell, Ronnie Campbell, and Brett Johnson, when we went to register to vote, he pulled us all three to the side, and he said, "Now look, you want to register as a Republican, right?" And we were like, "Well, we hadn't thought about it." He's like, "Yeah, you're going to register as a Republican, else you ain't coming back home." So we all three boys at that point in time, we registered as Republican. Even though I can't vote anymore, I lost those rights as a criminal. Even though I can't vote, I am still registered as a Republican. I'm not that modern day Republican. I'm more the Republican of old. I think and I'm not trying to make political comments today. I'm not. But I believe that both parties have lost their way over time. I don't think that either party gives a damn about any American anymore. They care about themselves, power, and money. That's what I think. So that's my political comment for the day. Now I'm gonna post this thing one more time because I got sidetracked telling stories. So that in the comment section, there is a Dropbox link to Happy Mobalini's complete education file. Complete education file. I am going to have the two appeal documents that I've got. So it turns out the piece of shit Sheena Breeding, horrible human being Luke Glaser, and unhappy Donald Mobalini, all three of them that told that young child that it was her fault that she was being raped, that it was her fault, that it was her fault that she had been raped. All three of those people that said that then allowed the other children to deride that child to the point that another rape victim on that same trip did not want to speak up because she saw what was happening to the first victim. All three of those individuals tried to appeal and say that they fell under qualified immunity, that they could not be prosecuted, that nothing could be done to them because of that. And the courts roundly rejected that. Roundly. It's almost as if the court said, no, you pieces of shit. It was your job to protect the children under your charge. And guess what? It was their job to protect the children under their charge. So that is Donald Mobalini's complete education profile. Sonia Combs as well. Now, I'm going to upload in that same Dropbox file. You guys continue to check the Dropbox folder. I'm going to upload in that same Dropbox folder the two appeals that were turned down. And the reason I've not done that yet is because it has the names of the victim in there. And I want to redact that completely, okay? I don't want this child to suffer any more consequences. And it's a shame. It is truly a shame that a child who was raped is scared then and now of suffering the consequences from individuals in the community. There's something really, really wrong with that. And you want to know why I'm up here bitching and calling out the stuff that needs to be called out. It's because of stuff like that. It's because we have a right to speak up. We have a right to protect ourselves. We have a duty to protect our neighbors. We have a responsibility to protect our children and the children in the community. And when the people in power work against that to make sure that we are not able to do that because they are too busy protecting themselves and the criminals who are connected to them, that is absolutely unacceptable. So you want to know why I'm up here doing this? That's largely the reason. And I'm not going to stop. I am not going to stop. All right. So I want to video file, go to the desktop, open. It'll take just a second for this to open, and we can go from there. We're going to add that to the stage. Can everyone, let me know if everyone can see what I'm showing right now. All right. I think you can. So just let me know. All right. So please give me some comments. If people can see that, I would appreciate it truly. What I have uploaded is Joe Engel, a post that he made on his page. And I'm not sure if he also made it to the Perry County Sheriff's page or not. Jeanette, thank you for letting me know you can see it. So Stephanie, thank you so much. So what we've got here, here's the thing, guys. I told Joe Engel on this show, we've been doing this now for 3.5 weeks. And during that time, we've had Natasha Combs fired, Austin Combs fired. I had someone reaching out saying they didn't think they'd been fired. I can assure you that I said Austin Combs, but Natasha Combs fired and Timothy Brown fired from Soaring Potentials. I can assure you that Timothy got his last fucking paycheck a while back. All right. Natasha Combs, they're considering moving to South Carolina because they're scared of the community. They're scared that, turns out that people in Hazard, Kentucky and Eastern Kentucky, they don't appreciate parents who allow their children to be raped from the age of 13. So they're moving to South Carolina to try to avoid that, try to get out of that, because, people going to look at them funny when they walk into the Hazard Walmart. So that's why they're moving. All right. Joe Engel, I said on this show a few weeks ago that, Joe, it'll get to the point that you're going to screw up. And before the end of the day, it's going to be called the Brett Johnson Sheriff's Department because of the lawsuits that are going to hit you. And I guess the son of a bitch did not pay attention. I told him on this show and on comments on Facebook that I know he read. I know he read them. I told him I am better at this than you are. And I am. The people that I am against, the people that we are against, I am better at doing what I am doing than they will ever be at anything in their life. And I don't say that being conceited. I don't say that embellishing. It's simply the truth. It's the truth. So, Joe, the reason I'm on your ass is because you charged a 16-year-old child with driving under the influence, that child a rape victim of Noah Back. You charged that child with DUI because she told you she was driving. Any law enforcement, any proper, legitimate law enforcement officer in the world that really meant to protect and serve, any of those people, they would have discounted that child and they would have done an investigation before any charges were brought against that child. You didn't do that. You turned the vehicle back over to Noah Back within 24 hours. That area was never taped off, roped off, or people kept away from it at all. No one ever investigated the crash site. You didn't do it. And you didn't do it because you knew what was going on. You knew that Noah Back was driving. Got video coming out of Ramey's that Bill Back, his dad, tried to buy for $50,000. I guess he was told to fuck off. You knew that too. I know you knew that. You knew that. You talked to the neighbor that tried to lift the vehicle off of Timothy Brown. Poor Emmeline Clark, she was dead by that point. But this neighbor comes out as Noah Back is running away, saying, I've killed her, I've killed her, I've killed her. Now, why was he saying that? Why was he saying that? He was saying that because he was driving. The neighbor told you that. So you already knew what time it was. You could look at the seat on the ATV and you could see it was pulled all the way back to the back so that an adult would have the leg room to drive. You could see Noah Back's victim's hair clip on the passenger side. You could see that. But you didn't do that. You didn't do that. Instead, what you did was, because Bill Back is connected, because Noah Back had gotten out of a rape before, because you knew what time it was, you charged a 16-year-old rape victim with a DUI to try to make it all go away. And something funny happened on the way to the forum. People asked me if I could help out, and I did. And all of a sudden, a lot of the community, they decided, hey, we've put up with a lot of shit from these people. And, this Emmeline Clark, are we actually going to let her die and all that be swept under the rug? Are we going to let Noah Back's rape victim be charged with DUI and let this son of a bitch, Noah Back, off with it again? And they said no. Not only did they say no, but when I started to talk, they started to realize that, hey, yeah, we can talk up. We can start to do things. And it started by people sending me information, and it just grew from there. It just grew from there. So yeah, that's why I'm on your ass. That's exactly why I'm on your ass today. And that's why I've been on your ass. And then more and more information about you comes to the top, rises to the top. Shit floats, Joe. So Joe Engel got mad, and he's been mad about this show and about the people following this show and about people that are screaming out to do the right damn thing in the case of Noah Back and in the case of all this corruption that's going on that he refuses to do anything about. People got mad about that. Joe, I want to tell you, Sheriff Joe, son, you have, honestly, it's like every single thing that you have done, I have been able to use against you to a horrible degree. It really is like you're a complete novice. I've mentioned checkers and chess before, and it's not even like you're playing that, man. It's not. It's like you can't even get out of Candyland. Shoots and ladders. That's what it's like. The only thing you had to do the entire time was just do the right damn thing. And that's what you signed on for. That's the oath you took. You claim to be a preacher. You claim to be a preacher. But you make some mistakes doing that. You call it your church. It's not your church. It's God's church. You don't have a church. God has a church. Jesus has a church. You don't have anything. You don't have anything except those people that you bow down to. Scott Alexander. Hot dog down a hallway, Scott Blair. Bill Back. Noah Back. That's what you've got. Denny Ray Noble. You think I didn't know your connections to Denny Ray? God, man, you got to realize by now. You got to realize by now that I know more than you think I know. You got to realize by now, and if you don't believe me, you can ask Happy Mobalini. You got to realize by now that the stuff I'm talking about, man, it's messing with you all. And you got to realize by now, we ain't going anywhere. We, because it's no longer me. It's no longer me. You fucked around. You found out. F-A-F-O. You fucked around. You found out that it's not just me anymore. So this list, what happens is I have a little, I did a presentation, not a presentation, I did a show, and I said, that son of a bitch, Sheriff Joe Engel. Now, Joe, that's not calling your mom a female dog. It's illustrating that you are basically a hypocrite piece of shit. All right. And instead of me just saying it in those words, I said, son of a bitch. So I'll apologize to your mama because I don't know your mama. I don't. Your dad, I will say he's a piece of shit, and I would bet you on it. But if I were to bet, I am sure that your father might want some cut of, that wager that would be there, because let's be honest, that's what he did. Right. If he wasn't burning churches, that's what daddy did. So your mom might be an outstanding human being. I don't know. You, however, not so much. Your dad, not so much. Now, you can get mad all you want to about me saying that. And I said it. I called him a son of a bitch. He got all in his feelings because, that's what Joe Engel does. He gets in his feelings, like that one person that said, she disagreed with him, and he posted on Facebook, don't let me see you in public, threatening her. Joe, you've been violating civil rights, I guess, for a minute. General wouldn't do it. It's wild because he's mad at folks for seeing something, not even what we liked. So what he did was, Joe then goes over to the Brett Johnson Show page. So what I've done is on my Brett Johnson profile, the individual, I've now got my friends hidden so that no one can pick on you guys. On the Brett Johnson Show itself, that Facebook page, I can't do that. All right. What you guys can do is, if you're worried about someone seeing it, you go to your Facebook page, you go to settings, and privacy. Okay. From settings and privacy, you go how people can contact you. That's the tab. It says something like that. You click on that, and there's a little tab on there where you can click it, and no one can see who you're following or the pages that you like and things like that. I would advise everyone to do that. All right. Now, that being said, what Sheriff Joe does is he makes this little video right here, and he posts it on his page. All right. He posted on his page. And he says, he makes a few other comments and a few other posts that people who, call him or talk bad about him and his family You can expect to be unfriended and whatever else. Now, here's what actually goes on. He posts that so that the bootlickers, the cult members, the people who are scared of the corrupt losing power, he posts that so that they can see who everyone is. That's why he posts that. That's why he posts it. He posts it so they can see who everyone is, and so that they can try to punish them, intimidate them. He posted as an intimidation factor. All right. Now, the truth is, and I spent some time looking this up because I wanted to be correct on what I was saying. I knew immediately when he does that. Now he does that. I'm going to go ahead and minimize this, take this off since everyone's had a chance to see it. I'm going to take this off. So he knew when he did it, he had to have known that he had screwed up. But he's sheriff. He thinks he can get by with whatever he wants to get by with because that's what he's been able to do in Perry County, isn't it, Joe? It is. It is. But, times change, Joe. Times change, people change, and you're still a son of a bitch. So he puts it up. A couple of days later, I guess the Perry County Sheriff's Facebook page goes off. His page goes off. I know that he's viewing all this stuff through his wife's account at the same time because that's the narcissism of Joe Engel. All right. Now, here's the thing. Law enforcement, not allowed to do that. Not allowed to do that. You're not allowed to intimidate a protester. And that's what we are. We're just protesters. I can say that he's a son of a bitch as much as I want to. That does not mean that he's able to put any video up here trying to intimidate those who follow, trying to intimidate me. You're not allowed to do that. And the reason you're not allowed to do that is because you're a public servant. You're in a position of power, and that's a violation of my First Amendment rights. That's a violation of all these followers' First Amendment rights to follow a protest. That's what that is. That, my friend, is not a state affair. It's not. That's a federal affair. That's a violation of one's civil rights. And if you don't think I'm connected, you ain't been watching this show yet. All right? Done told you. Done told your ass. Already had talks with FBI. Funny thing, my main contact at FBI, he knows exactly who I am. And he's mentored me, and I've learned a lot from him. And we were talking, first call I had with him, about Hazard. We were talking, I was explaining all this stuff, and he's like, and he knows my story. And he's like, Brett, it's really exactly like you said it was. I was like, what do you mean? He was like, well, you said, all this, he said, you talk about Eastern Kentucky being full of corruption and fraud. And if you don't, if you can't get ahead, you might be engaged in some of this bullshit. And I was like, yes, sir. And he's like, well, it's like the entire area is like that. It's no wonder that you kind of turned out like you did. And I was like, well, President, it was my choice to do that. But yeah, the path was laid if I chose to go down the path. And he was like, yeah, man. So it's not like they don't know about you, Joe. So who you're supposed to complain to is, of course, the ACLU. And I'm sure that you're not worried about that. But you're supposed to file a complaint with the FBI as well. Now, if you're not worried about that, you son of a bitch, you sack of shit, you should be worried. You can bet I don't know if you shave your ass or you let it grow, I don't know if you wear panties or you go full commando. Don't really care. I guess you might wear panties, Joe. Thongs at that. Probably something you picked up at Victoria's Secret. It's the only thing I can guess. Because it sure is a fact. Either you ain't got a set, or either your testosterone levels are so low that you have forgotten what it means to be a man and do the right damn thing. And I don't really care which it is. I don't. But I can tell you that you screwed up by that. And you had to know because you've since tried to hide it. But, hard to hide anything that you post on the internet, Joe, especially on Facebook. When push comes to shove, it doesn't matter whether you delete anything from Facebook or not. It's on those servers for a while. And talking about, Noah back, you got the phone. He had been raping that girl since the age of 13. You got his phone. We know that Noah back likes to take a lot of pictures, don't we, Joe? We know that. So you looked at the pictures and still no charges. Are you really telling me there was no CSAM on the phone? Child sexual abuse material, CSAM. Just in case, in your infinite law enforcement wisdom, you didn't know what that term meant. So you're telling me that. You're really telling me that. Let me call you a liar and a hypocrite while we're at it. All right? No, I am not backing down from somebody like you. Bet your ass on that. All right? Let's look at the comments for a second. Peggy Logan, I'm not worried. Peggy, I'm not either. Merlene Begley, Brett, I love your show and your honesty. You were missed while you were gone. So happy you're back. Your show is number one. Hey, Merlene, you guys have no idea how much I appreciate you. You guys got no idea. Eck Caldwell, they had people in that place that don't even know the law. It wouldn't surprise me a bit if he didn't know that's against the law. And it doesn't surprise me at all. You put somebody like that in a position of power that has no experience whatsoever except coming out of the military, and they think, well, I'm sheriff. I can do whatever I want. I'll be a bad Buford pusser. That's what they think. Well, no, sheriff, the real world is much different than the movies, and, you're still a piece of shit at the end of the day. Missy Combs, I absolutely love. It's about time they're called out. You're damn right it's about time they're called out. Billy Little, Hard Burley. I know Hard Burley. Damn right I know Hard Burley. Here's, let's see, Bill Sizemore, see what you got real quick. I'm curious, what if NOAA had wiped the phone? Is a police force like Hazard capable of finding that stuff, or would they have to help from outside sources? So I'm going to give you, I don't know what type of phone Noah Back had. All right. If he had an Android device, so this is some experience from a cyber criminal and from someone who works with law enforcement at the same time these days. All right. So if Noah Back had an Android device, it does not matter whether he deleted those pictures or not. Those pictures are recoverable from even from a sheriff's office. They could do that bullshit. Local PD could do that without much issue. iPhone is a little bit different. iPhone has an encryption standard that's in there. So what happens is when you delete a video or picture, the encryption key that's tied to that video or picture is also trashed. So it becomes exceptionally difficult to retrieve that information. What law enforcement, local PD counts on at that point is hoping that in the deleted text messages, videos, and files, there's ones that says recently deleted, that those images are still there. Now, if those pictures have been deleted and then the recently deleted folder has been, emptied as well, at that point, it becomes very difficult to retrieve that information. That doesn't mean you can't. It just means it's very difficult and it's somewhat costly. Local PD to do that, probably not going to happen. It's going to take, at the minimum, state, federal at that point. Apple can absolutely do that. As much as Apple wants to claim that, oh no, once the information's gone, it's gone. It's not. It's not. All right. Apple can absolutely retrieve that information. Some federal agencies can do that. It really depends on how important the case is. So say it were a terrorist attack. If it were a terrorist attack, you can bet your shiny ass, corrupt son of a bitch, Joe Engel, that data could be retrieved. It absolutely can. If it's something that's more local, it really depends on how much hell is raised at that point. Now, again, somebody could probably answer that knew Noah Back what type of phone that he had. If it's an Android, his ass is done. My understanding is that Joe, it's not like I don't know people in your sheriff's office, Joe. I told you that weeks ago that I've got insiders in your sheriff's office, idiot. So it's not like I'm not aware that Joe Engel got the phone and saw some bullshit. It's not like I pull this stuff out of my ass. All right. It's not. I know what I'm talking about. So, and still Noah Back, not charged with any offense against children because they are still trying to sweep this under the rug. And John Hanson, the prosecutor, from what I understand, John Hanson, and I know some people out there said, oh, he's a good man. Well, he wasn't a good man when, rumor has it he was in that swimming pool shaking hands with the unemployed as children were watching or maybe even in the pool with him. Rumor has it. That doesn't sound like a good guy to me. And it certainly doesn't sound like a good guy to me that he walks into the courtroom with the idea that he's going to ask for Novak's bond to be $500,000 property or cash. Oh, yeah, I know that shit too, Mr. Hansen. So you're well aware of Novak being a child predator. You're well aware that he and his family tried to abscond up to Illinois, and yet you're going to walk in that courtroom and try to ask for a $500,000 property or cash bond, which we know that Bill Back, his daddy, that tried to pay $50,000 just to get a video deleted, we know his daddy would be more than willing to pony that stuff up. Sounds to me like, Mr. Hansen, you, sir, are a piece of shit. That's what it sounds to me like. We call it like we see it. We call it like we see it. You're damn straight we do. Eck Caldwell, I don't know if you paid attention, but nobody has had riots around here for a while. I'm well aware of that, Eck. The Hazard Police Department beat the brakes off of me when I was 16, left me in ICU for 3 days, and they put me in the newspapers. And everything, not a word was ever mentioned about that. Everything, not a word was ever mentioned about that. Eck, I don't know you. I believe you. All right? I believe you. You want to know why I'm down on the Hazard chief, Zachary Miller? Because he's Happy Mobalini's boy. That's why. He's his boy. He's not a man either. His testosterone, I mean, I guess that a lot of people there, a lot of these so-called men, their testosterone levels are so low, they've decided to become bitches. I guess that's what it is. So we've shown the video, contacting the FBI, because I just got back last night, contacting the FBI to file that complaint against Joe Engel Monday. Contact the ACLU Monday, seeing what kind of lawsuits we can have. And here's my promise to you. The proceeds from any money that comes from a lawsuit will absolutely go toward helping and assisting the people of Eastern Kentucky. Yeah, turns out this son of a bitch, Brett Johnson, I'm not into making money talking about the corrupt and the pedophiles of Eastern Kentucky. Nope, not into that at all. So anything that comes from that, that's what we'll do. Maybe we'll make a foundation called, that's what we'll do. Any lawsuit money we got coming in, we'll make a nonprofit foundation in Eastern Kentucky called the Brett Johnson Society of Getting Even with Some of My Bitches like Joe Engel and the rest of those corrupt people around there. Now, that's a long title. Might not fit on one line. We may have to abbreviate it. I don't know how to, FUCKYOU. We'll figure out what the initials mean. Hazard Mayor called his mom yesterday and told her not to believe anything on the internet. Mommy Mobalini, you don't have to believe anything that's on the internet, but you can read his complete education file if you want to do that, because I uploaded it on Dropbox. Matter of fact, let's send Mommy Mobalini in case she wants to get it. We'll put the link up again to Donald Happy Mobalini's complete education file. Now, Mama Mobalini, I don't know how you raised your son. I don't know if you raised him to be sexually excited by male children giving him lap dances and grinding on his crotch in the school gym. I don't know if you raised him for that. I don't know if you raised him to give marijuana and alcohol to children. I don't know if you raised your son, Mobalini. I don't know if you raised him to take children on a trip to see Kid Rock, and on that trip, he gives them vodka and marijuana and photographs some of them in sexual situations. I don't know if you raised him like that, but Mama Mobalini, that is the son of a bitch son that you have. And Mama Mobalini, I'm going to apologize. I don't mean to insinuate that you are a female dog. I am talking about your boy, not you. So that's what I got to say about that. All right. My name is Brett Johnson. This is the Brett Johnson Show. Let's see what Chenoweth says real quick. Before the whole story was released, I turned and asked my almost adult son what he thinks I'd do if word got back he had done those things. He said he'd just be waiting in the car to be driven to the station because ain't no need to try to hide. We come from a long line of criminals, so I named my children names that if they get into trouble, I will hear about it. They know I don't play about those commandments. And I come from a line of criminals as well. You know, I never had kids of my own because I was a criminal, and I didn't want them to grow up in that type of environment. And I was also scared that I might end up like my mom, you know, toward the kids. I was very, very fortunate that, you know, once I got out of prison, I had the opportunity. The woman that I married, that I'm getting divorced from now, she had two sons. They became my stepsons, and I'm damn proud of the way that I helped raise those boys. They are outstanding human beings. All right. I will tell you in no uncertain terms that if one of my boys or a child that, you know, I was in charge of were to do anything like Noah Back did, that child would probably first, before he was escorted to the police station, might need some medical attention. You know, that's what I would say. And I would say that if I were the parent of a child who had been victimized by someone like Noah Back, I would say that I would probably give the offender an alibi. I would probably put their bond up so they could get out of jail, and then would probably have a discussion with them. Because to me, that is the Kentucky way. That we have sheriffs and people in power that try to protect these offenders and try to further victimize children, whether that be Happy Mobalini or Joe Engel or who have you. That we have this going on is absolutely unacceptable. I am not going a damn place. I'm not. I'm going to make it my mission in life to get even with all the son of a bitches there. And it's not just me anymore. And you know that, Joe. That's why you put the names of all these people on that video and violated their rights. You thought you could get away with that. You can't. You can't. It's a we now. It may have started out just me, but all of a sudden it became, hey, it's us. It's us. And we have had enough. My name is Brett Johnson. Today is Saturday. I have loved coming back on the show. It's so much better than relying on that damn cell phone that I still hate an Apple device. So, Tammy Miller, I can 2 more comments and we're going to wrap this up. Can't someone else come to Hazard and take this case over so that Noah and the rest gets charged with everything they've done? Tammy, I did reach out to the FBI. They are interested. I'm sending them documents and everything else on this. It turns out that the FBI is not just interested in the Noah Back case. They've been interested in the corruption, specifically in Perry County, for a while. Perry County, a 39 square mile area, such a small county, so much corruption. So much corruption. So yeah, we're going to get their asses soon enough. Peggy Logan, my kids would fear me more than the law. They would need 911. No kidding. I know exactly where you're coming from, Peggy. The angel with horns too. Rock their world, Brett. Bring it all to light. Guys, my name is Brett Johnson. I want to thank every single person out there who is doing the right damn thing. Every single person out there. I love every single one of you. Those who are not doing the right thing, well, I would pray that if you're male, and even if you have some sort of low testosterone like Joe and Happy and some of these other people, I would pray that your nutsack, what's left of it, falls off and goes splat on the ground. That's what I would say. That way, perhaps you can't continue to populate the world anymore. And perhaps, I mean, I don't want you to bleed out, but I would not be horribly upset if, you met your maker sooner rather than later. At least you would leave everyone else on this physical plane alone for a while. Just saying, just throwing that out there. For the females that are out there that are, corrupt and bootlickers and, taking up for their husbands and everything else. I mean, what did you think was going to happen when I posted that about Zachary Miller? I never post anything without reason. And you bad guys have made so many mistakes. My God, the wife reaches out? Come on. You got to do better than that. You got to do better than that. At least make it a contest. So far, it's been like taking candy from a baby. I'm just able to pick and choose and pick and choose and pick and choose. And you guys are running around with low testosterone, no nuts. And hopefully the women have had their ovaries fall out and go splat on the ground as well. That way you can't put any more babies out. Just wondering why the flight director didn't start this investigation when they took the photo with Mr. Miller. Well, you tell me. My name is Brett Johnson. This is the Brett Johnson Show. We air Monday through Friday. Today's a special day because I just got back from Lithuania. We air Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. Central. And we're going to continue to do that live on Facebook, on YouTube, and on LinkedIn. We are all about stamping out the corruption and fraud in Eastern Kentucky, calling out those who are supposed to be serving and protecting, those who are supposed to be bettering society. We are all about putting that spotlight on them. We are all about making sure that the predators of Eastern Kentucky, those who harm our children and those who harm the upright members of society, we are all about making sure that that bullshit stops. And we ain't stopping. You can't fire me like they fired Mike Cagle, Police Chief Mike Cagle over there. You can't do that. Good luck with that one. My name is Brett Johnson, the Brett Johnson Show. We are Eastern Kentucky. We are a proud people. We do stand tall. We do stand tall. We will do the right thing. And by God, and that's not a cuss word, I mean by God, we have had enough. Until Monday, 8 a.m. Central, you guys have an outstanding day, a wonderful weekend. You bad guys, I hope nothing but the worst for you. Until Monday at 8 a.m. Central, I'm Brett Johnson. Just do the right damn thing. Talk to you then.